sounds solid when the run game was really effective, though. Caden Durham, specifically, how special of a player is he?
Well, he's got breakaway speed, and that's obviously the big difference tonight. You know, the two early touchdowns, the one on a quick screen, and then obviously the counter where he took it to the house. Now, again, I'd like to play 4 quarters, but again, that's a good football team. They make it difficult on you. I thought Major had their team ready to play. You know, we didn't play a great third quarter, but we finished out the fourth quarter the way I wanted to. So we're getting better. We knew that this was kind of the last game before we got into the heart of the SEC, and I thought it was probably our best performance relative to first quarter, you know, through the fourth quarter.
You've got a lot of young guys on your roster. What weeks I want to ask about him just because he's standing right next to you. How big of a future does a guy like Witt have?
Well, more than just the football part, he's starting to emerge as the leader and the guy on our defense that we can all rally about. And you saw what he did on the goal line. That kind of play is what we've been looking for. And so this defense is starting to shift over to his hands.
You mentioned that schedule that's upcoming, 7 straight in the SEC. What's going to be the biggest thing you guys work on in this bye week as you get ready for that gauntlet of a schedule?
Well, I think it's, you know, for us more than anything else is getting, you know, the big plays out of our defense, you know, making sure that we eliminate some of those. We had a couple of big play passes today. And then offensively, you know, we had a couple of key drops. We're not going to be able to get away with those things in the SEC. We got to play a little bit cleaner. But again, I'm happy with the win. I think our guys played with great energy. They were tough today against an opponent that sometimes you overlook. We didn't overlook South Alabama. We played them with the respect that we should have. And now we can move on, get the bye week, and to get ready for Ole Miss.
Coach, thanks so much. Congrats on the win.
You're welcome.
All right, big ups to the Tough Tiger Talk family, man. We in this thing. LSU gets it done, man, and had a little fireworks, just a little bit in the second half, man. Big ups to the fan. Appreciate y'all being in this installment of Tough Tiger Talk. LSU, man, they get another one, so we win another one. We're now 4-1, 3-0 thus far at home. We'll get a bye week, then we'll get ready for Ole Miss, who lost today. How about that? So big ups to you guys. Appreciate y'all being in the live. Much love to the fam. Appreciate y'all. Big win by the Tigers, 42-10 over South Alabama. No real danger at all in this game for LSU. I mean, they really didn't. They kind of ran away with it. They were up 35-3 at halftime. And, of course, South Alabama had a little fireworks in the second half. LSU kind of dialed back off a bit, but then eventually kind of pushed the game away. Let's get into the team statistics here on Tough Tiger Talk recap, man. LSU, 29 first downs against 16. They were 6-9 from third down today. Almost 700 yards against South Alabama versus 333. It's not too much that they didn't win, statistically speaking. 430 to 221 in passing yards. Look at the rushing attack. They had 237 rushing yards off of 27 attempts. They averaged almost 9 yards a carry versus South Alabama had 33 attempts for 112, 3.4. LSU had 4 penalties for 40 yards, 5 for 35 for South Alabama. 2 turnovers by LSU as well in the matchup. Time of possession, 31 minutes flat by South Alabama versus 29 flat by LSU. Like I said, very little that they did do that they won today. And of course, Garrett Nussmeier continues to put up real hefty numbers, man. Despite the interceptions that he had today, Nuss was 26 of 39 for over 400 yards, 409 to be precise, 2 touchdowns against 2 interceptions. Ricky Collins did come in and go 3 for 3 for 21 yards. And LSU's found their running back going into the season in Caden Durham, who does it again. He was spectacular early on. He did have a little issue injury-wise, but like I said, they kind of set him down in this game, and then they have the bye week before Ole Miss, so they got time to kind of get him ready when the SEC schedule kick in. 7 carries, $128, a touchdown for him. Josh Williams came in 5 carries for 32 yards in the score. Xavier Thomas 1 for 26, 7 for 19 by Caleb Jackson's kind of taking a step back as Caden Durham stepped up, man. Now y'all notice that Caleb Jackson has not had the same oomph as we've seen in recent games. As Durham is really stepping it up. to help the running attack. Kyron Lacey, 5 catches for Buckle, 7. Durham had 3 for 89 in the score. Aaron Anderson had 6 for 73 in the score in the matchup. Mason Taylor, 3 for 43. CJ Daniels, 3 for 40. Xavier Thomas, 2 for 24 in the matchup as well. LSU did a lot of promising things here to kind of shut this team up. Very, and I no disrespect to South Alabama, but there's levels to this. LSU is just was supposed to smash this team down. Greg Penn finished with 14 tackles, 7 of which were solo in the matchup. Whit Weeks had 9. Major Burns had 8, 5 for Deshaun Spears. And then the thought process was how will LSU kind of replace, if you will, the loss of Harold Perkins for the season. A lot of people like what Whit Weeks has done. Greg Penn had a real stellar performance, 14 tackles. Whit Weeks had 9 in the matchup as well. And they were able to kind of get some pressure. They didn't get to the quarterback as much as I would have liked them, but still in all, they did enough to keep this team underpinned, basically what it is. All right, and then on the other side, you look at what they were trying to do in South Alabama. Gio Lopez, 16 of 22 for $171 in the score there. Kendrell Bullock, 9 carries for 56 yards. And Fluff Bothwell, who was a guy that was really tearing it up in previous matchups. LSU really shut that guy down. 10 rushes for 17 yards in the matchup. So that was positive. And of course, 4 for 91 by Anthony Eager, that top guy right there. But outside of that, nothing really to talk about in terms of LSU. Just did what they do against South Alabama. They smashed them. And now they get a bye week before they get ready to take on Ole Miss. So it's not too much to talk about in this recap stream. Big ups to you guys for being in the stream, man, as well. All right. Rose says Durham. Yeah. Hell yeah. Truth says hell yeah. Speed and power, great balance on his runs too. Plus he can catch like a wide receiver. Yeah, he took in. That's the thing about Nussmeier. Nussmeier is a guy that it has a bit of gambler in him. You know, he has a big arm. And like I said, with guys like that have a strong arm, they are a bit of gamblers. And you think with a gun for an arm, you can fit the ball in the tight windows. He made a irresponsible throw that got picked off, but the game was pretty much out of the hands of South Alabama. They kind of believed they thought they can get going, but LSU kind of resynced. They scored another touchdown to bat them down, and then only allowed them to put up 7 points. They thought they was trying to go on a little run. True Louis Animal says Nuss throwing 2 picks to a South Alabama team ain't good at all. Got me worried about the legit defense coming up for us. Yeah, it's the SEC schedule is where we're going to learn all we need to learn about Brian Kelly's 2024-25 LSU Tiger Club. Now, if you guys remember the preview stream coming into the season, I wasn't very high on this team. And that was because of the young defense, all of the changes that were going on. When you have Baker comes in, you got a lot of young players there. And even though I thought they'll play better defensively than last year, they couldn't do no worse than that, right? That was terrible. If we would have had half a defense, I think LSU would have been playing for the national championship. Our offense was just that good. We just needed half a damn defense. This year, a lot of young players there as LSU's trying to find its way. I really do think next year will be, the start of a lot of stuff. They got a heavy-handed recruit class coming in here with a lot of top-notch blue chip talent that will kind of really take the LSU's game future-wise to the next level to compete with other teams like Texas. But but Nussmeier and the rest of these guys, and see who will be complimenting and helping in the running attack. Seeing Caden Durham appear out of the combination of running backs. Our wide receivers are pretty decent. We doing our thing, a very stellar offensive line. And you never know what could happen this year. Nussmeier's numbers are accumulating. If he can be a little bit more disciplined and we can get a running game going and our defense can kind of continue to crystallize, losing Perkins is big. But to be honest with y'all, fam, and y'all tell me what y'all think. Perk wasn't looking all that good, man, to be honest with you. In a couple of these games, he didn't look dialed in. I don't know. He didn't look the same this year to me, Harold Perkins. I know he's a phenomenal talent, but he really didn't look dialed in over the last couple of games prior to his injury. You know what I mean? Do y'all feeling me on that? It's a difference. But not having him there will have an impact. But Weeks and Greg Penn and all those guys, they did a stellar job on an inferior opponent in South Alabama. But next, 2 weeks from now, we'll get ready for Ole Miss, and that's going to be a real hell of a game. All right. So anyway, listen, man, this was a pretty interesting matchup. Not much to talk about. LSU smashed down on South Alabama 42-10. They go into their bye week. They rest up, kind of, recenter themselves, get a little focus, and then come out and get ready for the Ole Miss matchup. So anyway, let's take a look at some of these college scores, man. There was a lot of stuff going on today, to be honest with you. With some of these colleges here in the top 25 today, man, a lot of stuff happening. Right now, with less than 4 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter, Georgia is trailing Alabama 33-28. That's a huge game between the number 2 and 4th teams in the country. That's very interesting. That's one we keep an eye on. I was looking at that game, and for a while I thought, Georgia was in trouble, but they kind of mounted the lead. They scored 13 points in the fourth quarter, and Alabama have the ball, and they're trying to just kind of run that thing out. But we'll see what happens there, man. I don't really who would you got? If it's Alabama, I kind of go against Alabama all the time. We see them all the time more than Georgia. I don't know. I guess we would kind of pick Georgia to beat those guys, or whatever the case may be. However y'all feel about it. Washington trailing Boise State right now in the second. Arizona up 3-0 on Utah. Oregon blanks right now in the first with UCLA. Of course, we know about our guys. Texas demolished Mississippi State 35-13. No surprise there. Ohio State beats Michigan State 38-7. Kentucky surprised Ole Miss, and like we're saying, Ole Miss got surprised by Kentucky 20-17. Man, that's a big win for Kentucky. They say it's the first, as Kentucky's upset Ole Miss for the first win in Oxford since 1978. So a long time ago this happened, and Kentucky was able to steal one away to get their first SEC victory against Ole Miss in Lane Kiffin. Not a good day for those guys. Penn State over Illinois 21-7. Michigan beats Minnesota 27-24 in a close one. USC is just smashed down on Wisconsin 38-21. Louisville were trying to do their thing. They lose to Notre Dame 31-24 in a close one right there. Clemson destroys Stanford 40-14. Iowa State over Houston 20-0. Kansas State beat Oklahoma State 42-20. Oklahoma lose to Auburn Oklahoma beats Auburn 27-21. BYU over Baylor 34-28. In Arkansas in a close one, they lose to Texas A&M 21-17. So that's some of the scores right here. Like we said, the next opponent we have is the Ole Miss Rebels, who, man, lost a very close one there. And it'll be interesting to see what they do moving forward, man, because they'll have South Carolina next Saturday before we are having an opportunity to take them on. So they don't have a break. They keep it rolling. So they're going to see if they can get back on track against South Carolina, team that we kind of barely got a victory on. Very tough game there. And the Gamecocks knocked them off. So we'll see how that all goes. But anyway, with that being said, man, listen, we're going to get ready to cut out on that. Listen, I appreciate all y'all for being here on the Tough Tiger Talk recap, man. It's LSU 4-1 on the day, 4 straight victories for our Tigers, man. But anyway, that'll do it for me in Tough Tiger Talk, man. I appreciate y'all for hollering at us. We'll be back on the next round. We'll see you in the middle of next week with some more interviews from Coach Kelly. And I'm pretty sure he'll give you a mid-season breakdown on what's going on with LSU, how he feels about this, what they need to clean up going into the rest of the season. Much love, and go Tigers.